$40 million.
Hey everybody, welcome to the pre-market analysis that we open up to the public every single Wednesday. Thanks for popping in today. This is Spartan speaking. What's going to happen after I'm done is Beth's going to come on, Mama's Options, give you a breakdown of the macro environment, show you what she's looking at from a macro expectation for today, things that happened over the course of the evening and as well as this morning from a news perspective as well, and go through any ETFs that she thinks that are relative in the short to medium term to be paying attention to. After that's done, I'm going to come on and give you a breakdown of the individual names that I'm looking at today, names that are gapping up, gapping down, news associated with those names that are gapping up, gapping down. We'll also talk about the SPY and the FANG and go through them from a technical perspective. We'll build an action plan for all those names for the open, and then I'll pass it over to South Beach. He'll come on and give you a breakdown of the macro environment from his perspective, bigger picture, also looking at the analyst calls, if there's anything notable there, and individual names that he's looking at to play on the open. Once that's all done, we'll do a quick little recap of those individual names, the SPY and the FANG, and then we'll get ready for the open. So thanks for popping in this morning, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Beth, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Beth, it's all yours.
Thank you, my friend. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to those of you who are joining us live through YouTube stream, and to those of you who are new to the room. It's more the same, I guess I should say. My narrative has been short squeeze into OPEX. So that is Friday. That means that all the options are expiring, the vast majority. And then quarter end window dressing going on. I don't see that changing at all. We really know what's going on here in terms of on the virus side. I think that the market has come to the realization that you can't fight the Fed. The amount of liquidity, it doesn't matter. They'll be there. Eventually, what's going to happen is we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. It's probably going to be a little bit more severe, but I don't see how this changes from day to day, week to week, month to month, until we get into earnings cycle, and then we get something to chew on for that. Powell, once again, is speaking today, guys. Be aware of that. He did exactly what I thought he would do yesterday. On the one side, all the negativity, and then on the other side, well, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and it's going to help the negativity sort of thing. We're going to get more of that. I think, there's going to be more questions in terms of the nitty gritty today. I think they want specifics, and there's also this PPP. I don't see how there can't be disclosures and guidance and supervision over this stuff in terms of who's getting what. Mester speaking. It'll be interesting to see what she has to say. All in all, pretty quiet overnight in terms of on the economic data side. This housing should continue to scream higher. I'm in that sector right now. I'm in Home Depot. I'm in Weyerhaeuser. I felt that made a lot of sense getting into that, and I'm in Lenore. So those are swing trades that I'm in with the focus. I think what we'll see is in terms of supply, it's going to be hard to keep up with it, because I think we're going to see a lot of individuals who were city dwellers now saying, maybe we need our little patch of heaven away from the crowds and stuff like that. So let's see if that continues on as a theme. All right, let's go. Let's see what's going on here. USA, Brazil, Russia, the top three. Europe doesn't want us there, doesn't want Brazil there, Russia. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play out. We know that the borders were extended to July 21st between US, Canada, and Mexico. I don't see that changing either. I still maintain this is not enough. You cannot control hotspots, right? Unless you know where those hotspots are. So I think we're going to see businesses, larger companies are going to start doing more of the testing and demand more testing. And Amazon came out, they said that they have a garb that you can wear that will notify you if you're too close to someone in terms of social distancing. I don't know if it's 6 feet or whatever. I think that's pretty cool. See how that plays out. This is bothering me with NATO. This is an obligation that we've been in for obviously decades after the war, World War II. We'll see how this plays out. This is something that the president's going to get some pushback on. We'll see if that creates more tension. That actually is a headwind, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. Right? Okay, let's see what the fund flows look like in terms of sectors. I want to see where the money's coming in, where the money's coming out. Money's coming out of VXX makes sense. Energy, XOP. We discussed that, not as much. We had these three sectors, right? We had the sentiment was 99, so that's coming back in. This is actually going to be bullish for us. We've got another week or so. I'm looking at Nvidia. This is the one I want to get into. I already started nibbling on it, but I'm a little bit ahead here, so we'll see if that starts to work. But SMH, you have to be with some of these sectors, guys. On the energy side, that's fine, but especially on the semi side, you really have to do individual tickers when you're playing it off of that, okay? XLU, interesting. Okay, didn't expect that. XLP, I did expect this, the consumer staples. I think that's going to continue to do well. Let's see about the financials. We don't have earnings, and the financials kick off earnings for another couple weeks, guys, till mid-July. But clearly, we're in the JPM that Spartan shouted out as a swing. I'm in XLF calls as well as a swing. I'm not going to overstay my welcome though. I mean, this is just something that we'll see how it plays out. Industrials, I'm looking to see infrastructure deals for the room. We're already in copper, but I'm looking for like a warehouser type thing where I don't think I'm going to do the XLI or the XLB. I might, but we'll see. If I see some sweeps coming in on the as an infrastructure play like aluminum, like AA, Alcoa, X, US Steel, we'll follow that. I just don't see anything yet. There was a lithium play that came in yesterday that I have not seen before. So there is some demand on the lithium side, LTHM, lithium. That was a ticker symbol. We'll keep an eye on that as well in terms of electric vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, what are we looking at? Well, we have to start talking about it. Okay, we are going to be in an election cycle soon. Clearly, the president is down in terms of probability stats. But I don't. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, the only thing that matters to me is this. What does the Dow do 100 days before presidential election when a Republican holds on to office? Going back to 1900. Well, you know what it means. It's bullish, right? Okay. Right, so we like that. This is pure stats, guys. This is not a statement about anything. We have to start thinking about that, the what ifs. And clearly, if they lose, it's actually not as bad as it seems. There's an 80% probability that 1 week you go down 2%. That's not bad, right? 2 weeks out, 1%. We've discussed this. I know that South Beach has discussed it. It's all going to be hinged upon the Senate. If the Senate stays Republican, I agree it's not going to be as much of a ding on things because of the checks and balances. And checks and balances, as we can see it, is what it was created, okay, for things like this, right? Let's take a look at we're going to do commodities today, and then we're going to start looking at some of those spreads. Food, I do believe we have a meaningful low, similar to what we have right here. The question is going to be right now, I think we sideways consolidate and digested. We didn't quite get up to the gap fill that I wanted, but eventually I think we go to this extension and that's up to 52. It's also 78.6%. I'm thinking of looking at longer dated stuff, maybe 6 months to a year out. For us, it'll be a delta trade, obviously. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to do. I'll probably do individual tickers on it. I just like doing individual tickers. Okay, copper. Okay, so let's assume that what transpired here, okay, was off end, and we're just going to ignore it. Well, it's my chart. I can do whatever I want to do. So what does this mean? Multi-year, multi-month, the gig right here. The good news is that we are starting to reclaim this box. We got a lot of work to be done now, right? If we are indeed, this would be a housing thing as well, the usage of copper. This would be, it'll be interesting if we get an infrastructure bill. So I'm anticipating and expecting us to stay within this box now. If we do not, then basically this becomes, this. And I really don't want to go there. I just don't want to go there. All right, so let's I guess we could use it this right here. Includes a little bit. Okay, silver. Multi-year, it never broke out from the baby bull high. So this has a lot of, and this is why I still want to be overweight on silver, because if indeed we do start to see recovery on the industrial side, this is an industrial metal. It's got opportunity. It's relatively inexpensive. It is, however, got rebuffed, and now we have a triple top right here. I'm going to be patient with this trade. I know that the miners are really getting obliterated, and you have to understand that on the commodity side, especially when it deals with precious metals, okay, it is highly manipulated by money market makers, financial institutions, right? So they can yank around whatever they want to do, and that's what's going on the gold side. Yesterday, we had the gold miners, selling off unexpectedly with gold pretty much unchanged. And so now we have the opposites happening today. So the gold is a little bit softer, and the miners are a little bit big, which is really quite fascinating. So there's a lot of monkey business going on here, hanky-panky. So we have to be patient. When you're trading commodities, you have to be patient and you have to be committed. What this tells me is multi-month, right? If you go back here to the sideways consolidation, 18 bars, 126 days. This is the weekly. Where does that get us? That gets us right here to August 10th. Okay, so we have a couple more months of sideways consolidation. This is why we're in longer dated trades, 2022, 2021. I do have some August trades on the books, but I might roll those out pretty fast. We'll see. I do not expect anything to happen, okay, in the foreseeable future. And we should stay inside this sideways consolidated range. Okay, let's take a look at the QQQ. This is the only ETF that is extended. Why? Because the QQQ, as I've been pounding the table, is the leader of the pack. It didn't confirm bear market. You know the drill, pounding the table. You want to be in the tech sector, melt up, yada, yada, yada. However, we are now extended, okay? Not on a percentage basis, there's words back there. But if you look at symmetry, we've already popped through, right? So on a risk reward basis, we have to be very, very careful. I think we have, like I said, into the beginning of next month, okay, and then we start to see some things kind of unravel. That's what I'm thinking in terms of our narrative. SPY just mucking around, 313.23, and then here, and then we'll see. I do not think we make all-time highs. I do not. I think we fall short on this rally in terms of the melt up, window dressing quarter end, let's say. And then as we get into next month, we have weak seasonality coming in again. We have earnings coming in, which is a headwind. So for now, I think The chore for the SPY right now, obviously, is to hold above, which we are. We're above at 315. We're gapping once again higher. Okay, and then rally up to here. I think we get up to here. I do not think we break out though. Okay, not yet, at least. Okay. IWM, well, you know, it's a shit show. Small caps, taken to the woodshed, let's beat it up. All right. I do think it can get up to the 78.6 fib, which is the high we had right here, 154.20. Okay. So I am in TZA, okay, but intraday I probably will buy some TNA, which is the 3 times leverage long, IWM. Overnight, I want to be, I take off the TNA and I swing the TZA, is what I do, okay? Amazon, this is the Amazon SPY. We have a lovely setup here in terms of consolidation flag. I'm very keen on this one in terms of breaking out. This will allow us, these are spreads that I like to do, okay, when especially like with the QQQ, we're at extensions. This has opportunity being long Amazon, short SPY. Microsoft, long Microsoft, short SPY. It's consolidative right now. On the other side, if it does break this quadrant, it's going to be, it is extended. Clearly it's extended here, okay? When I talk about extensions, I mean reversion back to the mean. And in this regard, it's reversion back to the mid on the Bollinger, okay? I have it as 21, but you can look at it at 20. Is what most people, I like, everything I have set is for fibs, except for the standard 50 EMA, et cetera, okay? So this is another one I'm keeping an eye on. If this starts to break down, okay, that's a huge negative. I will be buying Microsoft puts. I will be buying XLK puts as well, all right? Here's the Amazon QQQ, same narrative. It is sideways consolidation, beautiful within a flag. I'm anticipating and expecting this to outperform the QQQs as well. So, I mean, you can be, once we break out, guys, you can be long Amazon and short the QQQs if you want to hedge it. If you want to put on, I look at spreads. This is a spread to me. I don't look at this as a hedge. I look at this as a trade. Right? Apple, IWM, well, we're at key resistance here, consolidation. You know the drill. And this is Apple SPY. This is fascinating, guys. And this is why the SPY actually may do a little bit of catch up here. Why? Because we are at multi-year, right? Going back here to 2012, top of the range. We're also at, on the fibs, top of the range. Like this, anything above 200%, you've got to be careful with because it's really extended. I tend to look at this 223, 2.236, 2.5, and 2.618. This is going to be a tough nut for, I think, for Apple to start outperforming the SPY. Okay. And here's the Amazon in and of itself. My theme was I wanted Amazon and Apple to have some mojo going on, and it is having some mojo. So that this is, all of my narratives are really working out very well. Let's take a look at some of these. The 70-hour group, I like to subscribe to these AI types things where they have all this data that we can look at. This is one of them. This is going back 21 years of data, the diamonds, as you can see. As it says here, I think this 1.1% is more a function of the middle to end of the month. But according to this, okay, this is a soft month. Next month is a strong month. NASDAQ, this is a soft month, strong month, strong month. Okay, SPY, weak, strong, weak, weak. So what's fascinating is that this actually gives us some tailwind here, so we can set up some trades that we want to set up. I'm still looking at the spreads, to be honest with you. I just wanted to show you this is the VTI, and then you can see going farther and farther, okay? And then here's the sectors, XLY, that's XLP, weak, strong. So we do have weakness all the way through on energy. So this is how I come up with some of my seasonality trades, is basically off of this data. Okay, XLF is supposed to be weak and then strong. This may be interesting for next month, guys, especially with the financials reporting early, mid-July. Okay, let's take a look at the VIX. Where are we? As I stated up top, now we're holding up here. The question's going to be is, do we hold up here? Okay, and this comes in right now at 32.03. If not, anticipate us going all the way back down here, guys. 29.63. This obviously, if it starts to snap some more, would be bullish for the market as a whole. I still think, though, as the market starts to get more and more extended, you're going to continue to see more and more protection being put on. We've seen it in the TLT. We see it in the VIX. Okay. TLT has actually been working out to perfection right now. We grabbed it, sold it up top here. This is the daily. We got a double top here on the daily. So basically, TLT has to break. Our next major pivot is 164.22. I sold it because of where it was right there. If you look at it on the weekly, it gives you more clarity. Okay. So basically, I sold it at last week's high. I have some puts on, not much on it. I just, it's, if you don't catch it on the extremes, guys, it's really hard. It's dead money. So right now, this was the extreme. The question's going to be down here. I personally think we're in this quadrant right now, and I don't see us. I think this will hold multiple months. Okay, if we break through, then we're going up to here on 70. It's pretty simple, straightforward on that one. All right. So now let's take a look at some of our trades. XLV, I shouted it out. We're in XLV's off of this. Okay, it held the 50, right? EMA. So that's what we're seeing on a lot of these things, guys. It's just certain EMAs holding up or extensions being reclaimed, as you can see here. And I like it. I think we actually break higher. I like it when, as you can see here, the XLV did lead. Now we're consolidating. I don't think we take out all-time highs, though. I think we get to the top end of this range, and that's basically the 105. Okay? On the XLV, there's a lot of range that we got going on right now. Okay? Let's take a look at the XLK as well. This is my fan fave, you know. This one, I think we can make all-time highs on. Okay? From last week, I think we push higher. I do think that, and the reason being is into quarter end, I think we're going to move up to this extension right here. So 106.80, okay, that comes in, that's two extensions that are meeting. You can see the X right there. So I'm thinking 106.80, 106.50. For next week, it could get up to 108.80, but I'm going to start lightening up on my XLK calls. Right? Or what I might do is just write against them. I'm in Delta trades on that. For those of you who follow me, we're doing really well on it. We're in leaps, the 140 January 2021 leaps and the January 2022 leaps. Once again, welcome. My time is up.
No.
Welcome to those of you on YouTube as well.
Beth, I need a few minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, let me know, sir.
Yeah, we'll do. My platform just crashed.
Not a problem, sir. Take your time. I got you. So the XLK I really like, and that's Microsoft, that's Apple, right? And the other one that we have to keep an eye on is XLY. I have a strangle on XLY right now. But XLY is the consumer discretionary. You know, this is the largest holding is Amazon. So this is actually a cheap way, and I kind of pound the table on, especially those of you who are new, smaller accounts. This is such an inexpensive way to get you into some of these names that you would not normally be able to. XLK, very inexpensive to trade as well. So it's something that I like to give as alternatives, especially for smaller accounts. And these ETFs serve a function, obviously. That's my specialty. That's what I like to do, is point that out. So this I actually think can take out the all-time highs. Consumer discretionary, consumer staples. Powell said the most important thing that Powell said yesterday was it's all going to be a function of the consumer getting confidence that things are going to get better and that we're over the worst and that we're turning the corner. Until that happens, the Fed says they are going to pound, they're going to be there, come one, come all, doesn't matter. They have done just a remarkable job and are well deserving of the kudos and accolades because they have avoided us from getting into a depression. And I don't say that lightly. That's factual, right? They're not doing what they're doing. They're doing it because they need to do it. Right? Be careful also. Another thing we have to be aware of is that there's a 2-month window where a lot of these companies have to start reporting their layoffs. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out. That has to do with the levers that go on in terms of PPP as well as the unemployment rules. It gets complicated, but it was also an interesting discussion came out in terms of the ability, instead of giving like $600, having it weighted off of those who go back to work as like a bonus. And every single state said the same thing, they can't do it. So if they're going to do anything, I know Kudlow wants to kind of stop it, but if they're going to do anything, they're going to basically have to do it by a set dollar amount. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the XLF. This one's fascinating as well. Obviously, it was nasty business down here. I think we can get up to the top end of this band. I do not think we take it out, though. 26.76 is kind of what I'm thinking about right now. I'm in the 25 calls for the end of the month, for quarter.
Hey Beth, I'm good to go now. Thank you.
All right, perfect, guys. Enjoy.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Beth. Guys, what's going on this morning? Morning. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. Let's just pop up the screen share here. So if you guys are new to chat, I will post the Discord link in a little bit here. We'll see what happens going forward. However, the Discord link won't be posted till the end once I close down that YouTube stream. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you are new, just wait, be patient for that. So let's take a look at what we got going on today. A couple different things: TTD, Nvidia, Beyond, Roku, RCL, and Carve. TTD gapping up in sympathy with the market. Nvidia gapping up in sympathy with the market as well. And then Beyond Meat launches Cookout Classic line, stocks gapping up on that. Roku gapping up in continuation from last day's move in regards to that buyout rumor. RCL weakness on the NCLH news of delaying operations until October. And then Carve running on momentum because of the basically hot momentum in the low float sector. So we'll take a look at that. This UNOK, UONEK, guys, it did sell 3/4 of it of our overnight right now. And we'll see what happens with the rest of that position going forward. But, obviously solid overnight from $2. So I'm happy with that. Well, obviously, huge move. Anywho, let's take a look at what we got going on today. So the first two we're going to be looking at are TTD and Nvidia. Market's gapping up slightly after it was down at the end of the day there. So that's good. I'm just setting up my side chart here. There we go. Okay. So first two that we're going to be looking at are TTD and Nvidia. So let's take a look at the dailies here on these names. Alrighty, so let's get rid of this. So TTD gapping up slightly here, right at towards those all-time highs, which we need to mark. Let's get that EMA support here. Straight level of resistance. Get the short-term Fibonacci, and then we'll get the longer term as well. Just for some range there. Perfect. Same area lines up. 391. Okay. So what I'm doing is just basically looking at and using a Fibonacci extension tool to mark out resistance points above where we're at, so that we do have some levels that actually have some sort of technical significance. So they do act as technical resistance points. All right, let's go back to the 10-minute chart here. So let's take a look at this name. Pivot point to the upside today is going to be the last day's highs, which is aka the all-time highs. This level is able to be taken out. We got room for continuation towards 386.66 on the upside, so that Fibonacci extension level, that level gets taken out. We can see further continuation into the 391.62. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback to 372.45 to 366.17 on the downside. Overall, on the TTD, going to be leaning bullish, looking for continuation to the upside today. We'll have to take out that all-time highs, hold above it for confirmation. But certainly looks like the name wants to continue to push higher. So thinking that we do see that type of a move this morning. So that's TTD. Let's take a look at the next one, which is Nvidia here. So Nvidia, let's see. Let's take a look at the daily real quick. So obviously Nvidia, big flag forming on the daily. Wants to break out of this range. A little bit of a head and shoulders area. It's got to get above 367 level. Let's mark everything here. Or 370.66 level, my mistake. All right, let's take a look at this name intraday. I think everything looks like it's marked out already. Yeah. Okay, easy enough. So pivot to the upside today is going to be 365.53 on Nvidia. Levels able to hold. We got room for continuation of 370.66. That level breaks. We can see 380.05 on the upside. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback towards the 356.37 support. That level breaks. 349.85 will be tested. Overall, Nvidia going to be leaning on the bullish side today, looking for continuation higher. We just need to break or need to hold above that pivot point this morning, and then you should see that push to the upside. Keep in mind this downtrend that's formed from the recent range high and yesterday's high. We need to break through that level around, looks like 368.50s, and then we should see a flag break to the upside, and then we can look for that continuation to the next two levels. So that's going to be the key thing to break today on the upside, is that downtrend for sure. So that's TTD, and that is Nvidia. All right, let's take a look at the next two. So beyond Roku, beyond with a little bit of PR this morning, new line. Great. All right, so the daily chart, big flag obviously set up here. Nice bullish look. Let's take a look at where we got room to. 57, right, yeah, 62. Oops. Okay, let's take a look at this name from an intraday perspective here. So pivot to the upside today is going to be this 155.53 spot level breaks, moving towards 158.33s, and then into the 162.59 level. Above there, 167s will be tested. Unable to hold the pivot, look for a pullback to the 152.62 level to 149.36. Breaks, obviously, we'll see last day's lows, and then we can see that continuation lower to this level down here, 143.40 on the downside. Overall, on Beyond, going to be leaning bullish today, looking for continuation higher. I do like the flag set up on the daily chart for continuation. Just needs to hold above that pivot, and then we can see a continued push this morning. So the key level that we have, to be able to hold this morning will be indeed that pivot point. So pay attention to that level right out the gate. All right, let's take a look at what we got going this morning on Roku. So Roku buyout speculation yesterday, pushing on that. We held a piece overnight, as we would on anything with this much momentum. All right, let's take a look at where we got room to today. So pivot to the upside today is this 121.42 support. This level's reclaimed. We got room towards 124.54, then into the 127s on the upside. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards the 119.23s to the 116.57 level. That level breaks, we'll have a little bit more room lower into the 114.56 spot. On the downside, it looks like Overall in Roku, guys, going to be leaning bullish, but looking for some basing to take the stock long or add into our position. All right, so I'm just going to make this blue. There we go. All right, so that's Roku. So I'll be looking for either pullback into support basing or a reclaim of that pivot this morning for that continued push to the upside. Either way, it does have a nice chart. From the daily perspective, and I'll be looking for a continued push today on the upside. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's take a look at the next two, RCL and that CARV. RCL and CARV here. $60.33. Oops. All right, 60.36 pivot to the upside today. Level holds and reward 64.67, 67.39. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 56.50 to the 53.66 level on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish on RCL. If we can hold above that 60.39 spot, I think we could see some nice continuation to the upside today. So be looking for a little bit of a rebound bounce. If it can reclaim that level and push back to the upside. So that's what we'll be looking for on RCL. All right, let's take a look at CARV. So CARV, obviously low float name, pushing to the upside, former runner. Typically doesn't hold its gains, as you can see. But with that UO NE yesterday, obviously everyone's looking for the sympathy, so there's going to be some basically retail FOMO pushing it up, I'm thinking. All right, so that's that. Too far out. Okay. I'm just making sure all the levels are lining up. Most of them are, which is good. Makes my life easy. All right, pivot intraday, guys, is going to be 960 to the upside. Level breaks. We got room towards 1196, which is already pushing to right now. Level breaks after that, 1489 will be tested. It looks like after that, 18s is where it's got room to, based on the next fib extension level, so we can get going. Key level, obviously, going to be to hold that 960 on the open, guys. I'm leaning bullish on this thing. It does have a ton of momentum and volume behind it in pre-market. So I'm thinking we can see further continuation higher towards that 1489 level, which is going to happen apparently right now. And if that level breaks, $18 on the upside. So leaning bullish out the gate this morning, and then you'll probably get some topping later on during the day. But for right now, don't get in front of this thing. Going higher. RCL and CARV. All right, let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. I wonder if I can get borrows on this thing for later. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at the what we got going on the SPY and the FANG here. Quickly go through that. So, SPY and the FANG. All right, guys, market is obviously at the same area it was basically yesterday, so we can use the same levels. 315.04 is going to be our pivot to the upside today. If this level is able to hold, we got room for continuation towards 316.13, 317.17 on the upside. Breaks, we can see 318s. Unable to hold 315, look for a pullback to 313.77, the 312.69 level on the downside. That level breaks, you see a little bit further continuation lower towards the 311.21 spot. Overall, the daily market is holding up. EMA support in the short term. It did retest it yesterday after the gap was filled, which was good from a bullish perspective. I do think the market's going to be a little bit choppier going forward this week. I talked about that on Sunday in the newsletter, but I think it's going to remain within this kind of range. It's probably going to trade up from the range, but it's going to be choppy to the upside. So I would expect, smooth movements intraday. With that being said, the best place to focus will be the individual names, no doubt. Alrighty, so let's take a look at Apple here. So 354.14 pivot, levels able to hold. We got room for continuation towards that 360.347 spot on the upside. Overall on Apple, continuing leading bullish. Neutral, looking for a grind, continuation higher into that next level of resistance. Do you like the chart? Obviously holding your all-time highs, out them, literally. And as long as it stays above the pivot point today, we should see continuation. All right, Amazon. So Amazon pivot today is 260, not 260, 26.51, 67. This level is able to hold room towards 26.71 to 26.88. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 26.22 to that 2600 level on the downside. Overall on Amazon, leaning bullish, going to be looking for a continuation to the upside today. All right, let's take a look at Netflix. So obviously gapping up this morning, big push. Pivot to the upside today is at 446.72 spot. It's finally breaking out of its downtrend on the daily, so it is flagging to the upside on that daily chart. Let me just show you that in a second here. But through towards 455.18 today. Let me just hide this. There we go. Okay, easy enough. So you can see the downtrend's broken, and it's got room to the upside today into this head and shoulders level, which is where that 455 level is. If that level breaks, then we can get further continuation on the daily to the upside. So we'll see what happens. Pivot upside, like I said, 446. Level breaks from towards 455.18. Unable to hold up for a pullback towards that 435.22 spot on the downside. And leaning bullish on Netflix this morning. Pivot level is going to be a key level to get above though today in order to get that continued push to the upside. So keep that in mind. So that's Netflix. Let's take a look at Facebook. All right, I'm just going to suck these levels a little bit closer. Pivot to the upside today, guys, is going to be that 237.29 spot. Level holds from towards 240.16 on the upside. Unable to hold it for a pullback to 235s. Another name, FANG name that I like in terms of the daily chart. It is bullish to the upside. It's holding above a flag break area. So as long as it can hold above the 235.02 level, we should see that continued push to, the pivot 237.29 level, we should see the continuation to the upside. So it needs to reclaim that level to maintain its bullish outlook today. So we'll have to pay attention to that. Google this morning, pivot 442, 1442.86, level holds from towards 1465, unable to hold it for a pullback to 1429 on the downside. Google's been holding above this 1445 range breakout level for quite some time, grinding higher. I am leaning a little bit more on the bullish side of Google if it can hold above this pivot. So I'll be looking for a retest of that on the open, and then we'll see if it can hold for a continued push to the upside. So that is that, guys. So that's the SPY. That's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to South Beach for a little bit. He's going to come on, give you a breakdown of what he's looking at from a analyst perspective intraday, and then we'll come back to a quick little recap of what we talked about this morning and get ready for the open. So South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours. And I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
Morning, guys. Wednesday, hump day. Let's see what's going on. Bond market continues to be quiet. Nothing really going on with that. Fed, I think Powell speaks again today. I don't know which branch of government he's in front of, but it really doesn't matter. It'll probably, it's basically a replay of yesterday. All right, and we know where he stands. Make no mistake about it. This rally that we're having is a Fed-induced rally. No question about it. They're making stocks the only game in town, okay? And it's very clear, all right? And the bond market is unattractive, okay? Gold, I mean, how much money can you put into gold, right? A generous portion would be maybe 10% of a portfolio, maybe. Okay, real estate, illiquid. I think you have to really know what you're doing there. So it makes stocks the only game in town, and that's what they're trying to do. Okay, so we have this Fed-induced rally, and that's that. Okay, China. Okay, so here's my thoughts on China. All right, I was early on calling the downdraft in the market for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was watching what was going on in China with the lockdown, and I saw what was going on with those cruise ships. And so I thought this thing had the chance to get really nasty. Right now, what's going on in Beijing gives me pause, okay? You have the market trading as if there's, price for perfection at the very least, okay? And you have this outbreak in Beijing. We have to really watch this carefully, okay? If this were to get nasty, I mean, there's 21 million people living in Beijing, 3 times the size of New York City, all right? That could spread like freaking wildfire. It's like a dry California summer, and all of a sudden the fire starts. You watch your ass, okay? I think this has to be really focused on for a multitude of reasons. And there's plenty of room on the downside if this thing were to get nasty. So this is probably the thing we have to watch. And then you have that situation down in Texas, and I was watching Gottlieb last night from the FDA, and he's got some pause of what's going on there. Arizona, Mississippi, he mentioned like half a dozen states that he's concerned about. And he said that the next 2 weeks is going to be really important. And with the market price for perfection, you got to be on your toes. Okay. So you got to watch China really carefully, mostly for what's going on in this Beijing outbreak. All right. It's really important. Oil trading range, it's going to meander between 30 and 40. To me, it's just a boring situation not to be focused on. EU, Brexit, there'll probably be an 11th hour deal there. But I can't see how it's really going to affect the US stock market, to be honest. So it's a sideshow, but we hope our friends in Europe, everything works out there. The election, as days go by, it's going to become more and more important. The polls are showing, they're early. What do they know? I mean, the polls had Hillary Clinton winning by a ton. So right now they show Biden in the lead, but, anything can happen. I think a couple of things done by Trump recently didn't help his chances. Let's put it that way. And we don't have to get into that. It's not important. What is important is more than the election, if Biden were to win, which way did the 2 houses go? If the 2 houses went Democratic, then the stock market would have a correction for sure, because the corporate tax breaks that Trump put in would probably be rolled back, and they would probably have a $20 effect on earnings. Okay, on a 170 base, that's a big difference. All right, the virus, I alluded to it before with what's going on in some of our southern states, that we got to keep an eye on it, and what's going on in Beijing, both of which are super important. And I truly don't think things can get back to normal completely until there's a vaccine. I mean, they can come with all these drugs like Oxford did yesterday that'll help critical patients, not die, which is a wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong. But for the economy to go full blast, I think my feeling is either the thing has to go away, which at this point, based on the last week or so, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, or we get a vaccine. So that's the big bugaboo in the market. But with the market, priced the way it is, even if they had a vaccine, okay, how much upside is there? 10%, 15%, maybe? I mean, 20 would be a stretch. How much downside is there? So you see where I'm coming from. Let's talk about Mr. Market, pricing in a V-shaped recovery, no doubt about it. All right. Are they going to be right? I think the only way they're right about a V-shaped recovery is if there's a vaccine. Will there be a vaccine? I'm no expert on this. I have no idea. I can only hope. Okay. I know there's a lot of smart people working on it. I mean, I could give you the odds who I think is going to come up with it, and that would be Regeneron, but who knows? Okay. We'll see. All right, so that's that. A couple of things that came out last night of note. Spartan talked about the Norwegian cruise line extending their date for keeping shut till September 30th. So the cruise season for the summer is over, and they lose a huge source of revenue. That's probably their most profitable time of year. Okay, with cruises mostly to Europe, Alaska, and I mean from the U.S., Canada they go to and stuff like that. It's going to hurt the ports that the cruise ships go to. It's going to hurt the cruise ship industry, and this will be the last thing to open. Okay, for obvious reasons. I don't think it's a surprise that they're not opening for the summer. I mean, I think that was a foregone conclusion. The question is it open for Christmas? Don't know. I do know this, and I've said to you guys before, I know for a fact that the reservations are coming in hard and fast. I mean, I'm not guessing there, I know. That being said, if the government doesn't let them open, it doesn't matter how many reservations they have. Okay? So I think that's important. So that's one thing that came out over the weekend. Over the evening. And this thing with Gottlieb I was watching last night, he was bordering on being nervous about what's going on down south. So let's keep an eye on that. All right. Syndicate, there's a ton of syndicate stuff going on. Today, how many deals are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 secondaries, okay? That's been the norm. So these investment banking firms, the JP Morgans, Morgan Stanleys, these guys are busy, okay, doing all these deals. I just want to compare two things for you. Okay, there are there are 3 hot stocks in here that are doing secondaries. But let's talk about 2 of them. One is this AAXN, they make the taser, right? And DraftKings, okay? AAXN, I don't even know what the proper name of this thing is. Let's see. Axon Enterprise. These guys are doing 3 million shares at $92, and all the proceeds are going to the company. To me, this is a good setup. All right, business is expanding because of the new what's going to be new restraints on police on what they can and cannot get and do, which is a positive thing. But it's going to help these guys' business, right? So they're raising money probably to expand. That's a bullish scenario. Whereas if you look at DraftKings, they're doing 33 million share secondary, and 19 million of the 33 are done for insider selling stock. Okay, that's look, I think DraftKings is a fabulous situation. Okay, and I smashed myself over the head for missing this one. I was too focused on the short side at the time, and I'm pissed. That being said, you don't want to see 19 million of 33 million shares, of insider selling stock. So I think that's significant. And when you look at these secondaries, that's one of the things you have to look at. Okay, what's the money for? Who's selling the stock? Etc. Like if a biotech raises money when they have a good phase 2 trial, that's a positive situation. All right, so there's a bunch of deals. Those that AAX and is probably the one to focus on, and DraftKings tomorrow. So that's that. Let's look at research quickly. Okay, let's see what was in the research. The moron at Morgan Stanley doesn't like Tesla. Guy's a terrible analyst, so ignore him. Clack was downgraded, but that was more on price. That was Evercore. There was a short-term call in NSC as a short-term sell of Deutsche Bank. Insignificant, in my opinion. A bunch of guys are downgrading the CEMI when they had some kind of miss in a product, and that's not a surprise there. The only calls that I thought were significant, maybe you could sell short and make some money, was this BAP call out of Goldman Sachs, right? 151 target, stock's 156. That might work. And they also didn't like the CIB. I'm less inclined to do that one than the BAP. They downgraded Valero, but that was based on price. So I didn't think that was significant. And Bank America initiated Willie Nancy with a sell, $52 target, stocks 59, that may work. So the two that, if I did any, it would be BAP and NWA. Okay. What else? Citibank talked about I thought this was kind of interesting. New York State is having their opioid trial set to start. It was delayed because of the virus. So the stocks that come into play on that are MNK, Endo, Teva a little bit. Okay, those kind of stocks. I would be really shocked if this thing went down to the finish line and there wasn't a backroom agreement prior to the jury coming up with a number. Okay, so I think you'll see any day now a New York State settlement. And so, you may get a pop in like Endo on that if it goes well. That's the inclination that I have. They say be long Endo and short Mallinckrodt. I think that's probably a decent idea. I would agree with that. I don't know about short Mallinckrodt as much as I kind of sort of like maybe putting on a low volatility bend to the upside in Endo. I think that's probably a good idea. And if the trial is going to start, let's say on Monday, maybe they go, for a couple of weeks. So probably 3 weeks out, maybe would be good. And you'll see what happens with that. I think a settlement will be down before that. So I thought that was interesting. Other things on the long side, Cowen likes NKLA, Nikola, $79 target. Little surprised by that. The guy was on CNBC last night. Super impressive, I have to say. And the play on the stock is not the cars, it's the hydrogen that goes into the cars to make them run. That's how they're going to make their money. Guy was super smart. I really liked it. We'll see. Okay, but they liked the stock this morning. I thought that was intelligent. Visa and MasterCard stocks that I've been in for like a long time, they were upgraded. Free cash flow to CapEx in these stocks is out of sight. The movement away from paper money is real. And these stocks are just going to keep going, okay? Just a great business run by great management with high barriers to entry. Fabulous situation. What else? Jefferies likes Netflix, 520 target. They raised their target in McDonald's to 220. Not that exciting. Guggenheim likes MSGE and MSGS. Often when they do spinoffs, they take one unit and make two, you get a rally. So that might be worth keeping an eye on. One of the better trades I've ever had is in MSG. And, listen, MSG is not sitting pretty because people watch basketball games or hockey games, but they will come back eventually. I just don't know when. Apple, RBC raises target to 390, stock's a beast. No other way to look at that. Robbie Humphrey likes Denny's. Wainwright, who I think I'm not real fond of, let's put it that way, being Democratic. BHC, which is a stock I have a decent position in, they raised the target to 64, stock's 19. I think they're smoking something, but I do think the stock has upside. Okay. So I don't know why they put such a ridiculous target, but I like the situation. And there's really smart guys in that stock. I would imagine an event's going to come down. What else is exciting here? BTIG initiated a bunch of biotech stocks. I don't think that's worth talking about. Seeing if there's anything else. Raymond James upgraded a bunch of banks. The three I'm going to highlight are RF, Ozark, and TFC. I don't know. The banks are great trading stocks. I mean, I trade these stocks like water. I like trading them. I'm always involved in them for one reason or another. So I think that's significant. As far as group rotation today, well, let's say, the airlines and the cruise lines are going to start out in the hole. Maybe that spreads to restaurant stocks. Other than that, You know, is this going to be a high PE tech day or not? I think it's too early to tell. Okay, I don't see a whole lot of, you know, movement. So we may have a little chop fest today. We don't know. But, you know, we could always trade these special situations. As far as group rotation, I don't know. I do like this AZAC stock, which is that new issue. I'm sure, you know, I've talked about it with you guys. I like new issues at the beginning of a cycle. And let me answer a couple of questions while I'm sitting here. Okay, let's see. Do you think the tensions and firefights between India and China should be a concern? No, I don't. Not at this point. You know, you see them all the time. India, China, India, Pakistan. Never amount to too much. I don't think it's a concern. I think the big concern is the virus invasion. Okay, as far as China is concerned. So I don't think it's important there. This Carver running today, I just don't get it. Okay, I think it's a black-owned bank based in, like, I don't know, somewhere in New York. I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on here. I mean, I just don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. I probably am, but where are they based? They're based in, I don't know, in Harlem. It looks like 75 West 125th Street. So it's based in Harlem. I don't know. Why are they running a bank stock? I just don't get it. Unless they're going to get investment banking business, but I didn't see anything to that effect. What do you think about Digley as opposed to AAXN? I'm a big believer in SafeTab and best of breed. AAXN is best of breed. Digley's a weak imposter. But that doesn't mean you can't trade it. So I like AAXN. If I'm not mistaken, AAXN also has a camera, but I'm not positive on it. Any healthcare stocks catch your eye for this week for momentum? I like CNC. Okay. CNC and CI are the two cheap ones in my eyes. Okay. CNC a little more so. Yeah. Pump and dump, probably Carver. All right. I guess that's it. I'm out of time. Spartan, I'm giving it back to you, and let's make some money, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, South Beach. Alrighty, guys. Let's take a look at what we got going on. I'm going to do a quick little recap here this morning, and then we'll go from there. So if you guys are watching the YouTube stream here, I'm just going to quickly show you the action plan that's typed up so you can just look at it, pause the YouTube stream and just read it. There you go. There's that. Let me show you from the option side. There you go on the option side here. Show you this and you're good to go. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got from a intraday perspective, what things that we're looking at today. TTD, Nvidia, Beyond, Roku, RCL, and CARV. Obviously, you can see all the charts that are posted with SPY and FANG. TTD, Nvidia gapping up and sitting with the market. Beyond Meat launches a Cookout Classic line, gapping up on that. Roku, gapping up continuation for yesterday's momentum on the buyout rumors. It's now down a little bit. RCL weakness on the NCLH news of delaying operations until October. And then CARV running on momentum and sympathy with that UONE yesterday. We'll have to watch that one as well this morning. So let's look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two that we're going to be looking at are the TTD and Nvidia names. So TTD, Nvidia, let's take a look. So TTD pivoted to the upside today, 379.51. This level is able to hold. We got room for continuation. Sort of 386.65. That level gets taken out. 391.62 will be tested. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback at 372.45 to 366.17 on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish, looking for continuation to the upside today. So we got to see a hold basically of this pivot point, and then you see that push. Nvidia, let's take a look at this thing. 360, 353 is your pivot to the upside today. If this level is able to hold, watch for a retest of the downturn at that 368.50 level. Level breaks, we can see 370.66 to 380 on the upside. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 350.637 to 349.85 on the downside. Overall on Nvidia, going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation to the upside today. If we can break and hold above that downtrend as well as hold the pivot to the upside. Do like the chart on the daily. I think it's got room for continuation and some potential there. Let's take a look at Beyond and Roku. Beyond 155.53 pivot. This level is able to hold. Room for continuation 158.33. That level gets taken out. We can see further continuation into the 169 or 162 20 or 162 59 level. Unable to hold, look for a pullback into the 152.63 to 149.36 level on the downside. Overall, on Beyond, going to be leaning bullish, looking for continuation to the upside today. 121.42 pivot on the upside today of Roku. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 119.23 to 116.57. If this pivot's able to be reclaimed, we can see continuation of 124.54 to 127.32. Overall on Roku, going to be looking for a little bit of a pullback basing to take the stock long on this one, which is just take a tad bit of profit taking right now on it. Let's take a look at RCL and Carve. So RCL 60.36 pivot level is able to hold room towards 64.67 to 67.39. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 56.50 to that 53.66 level on the downside. Overall on RCL, going to be leaning bullish, looking for continuation of the upside today if the pivot point's able to be reclaimed. And then last but not least, Carve 960 pivot levels able to hold, room for continuation towards 1196 to 1489. That level breaks 1809 will be tested. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 792 to 523 on the downside. Overall on Carve, I am leaning a little bit more bullish out the gate, looking for a pop and then topping to occur. And we can see if we get a pullback there. So that's the individual names that we're looking at. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG real quick. So SPY, what's going on here? And I always post updates, guys, if you're watching on YouTube. If you follow me on Twitter, I update the SPY consistently, as well as obviously I do it in chat. But 315.04 is the pivot on the upside today. Level reclaimed. Room for continuation into the 316.13 resistance breaks. You see 317.17 tested. Unable to hold pivot. Room lower into the 313.77 support. Breaks, we see that 312.69 to 311.21 on the downside. I'm leaning bullish neutral. I do think the market is going to hold support and grind higher, but it's going to be a bit choppy intraday action. So I don't see us breaking out of this range today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. But for now, we're range bound. We're stuck within it. So definitely something to keep in mind there. You know, focus on the individual names, focus on the names with relative strength or weakness. And really only lean into those types of situations. You can't really lean into anything intraday. It's more of a kind of scalping if you're trading something that is trading in sympathy with the SPY. Let's take a look at Apple. I mean, that could change intraday, but that's what I'm seeing right now. 354.14 pivot on Apple to the upside. This level holds room towards the 363.42. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 347.70 support on the downside. On Apple, I am leaning bullish, looking for continuation higher today. We do need to hold that 354.14 for that continuation to occur though. Amazon, let's take a look at this, my friends. So Amazon, didn't say my levels. The pivot today on the upside is 26.51.67. Level holds room towards 26.70 to 26.88. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 26.22 on the downside to 2600. I'm leaning bullish neutral on Amazon, looking for a grind higher as well there. Netflix, watch that flag on Carve. Netflix, the pivot to the upside today is the 446.85 level, holds room towards 455 on the upside, unable to hold it for a pullback to 435.22 on the downside. Overall on Netflix, going to be leaning bullish, looking for continuation to the upside today. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook, guys, let's see here. So Facebook, 237.29 pivot level, holds on towards 240.29. That level breaks, we can see a little bit continuation higher into the 245s. Sorry, 243.92. Unable to hold it for a pullback to 235 to 231.68 on the downside. Leaning bullish on Facebook, looking for a retest pivot, and then we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at Google, last but not least. 1442.86 pivot level, holds room towards 1465.92, and then into the, I guess, the recent range high, 1472.77. Unable to hold it for a pullback to 1429.64 on the downside. Looking for 1809 right now, guys, on the upside on this carve. So that's the SPY, that's the thing. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. Gonna go ahead and shut off the stream here. If you do have any questions, feel free to go to the website or join us there, spartantrading.com. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We do this every single Wednesday via YouTube, so we'll see you next Wednesday. Alrighty. Once the my admin tells me the stream's cut, guys, I will post the Discord link for you in the Zoom chat. So just give me a second once I get confirmation.